Hi friends, welcome back. I'm Kathy. So we are on part 9 of the series, What Does the Bible Say About Being Frugal, and also money, wealth, and financial decisions. So this one is from the book of Revelation. Let's read it. So chapter 3, verse 17, and this is Jesus talking. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increased with goods and have need of nothing, and knowest not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked. Okay, so this is another verse like one I just talked about that I think has two meanings. So we all know the book of Revelation has a lot of end times prophecy, imagery, and some things, tell what's going to happen in the future. Some things talk about the previous. And so, yeah, there's just so much in it. And I do have a playlist on, I think it's called Popular Verses in the book of Revelation, if you want to check that out. So this verse is talking about, so I'll go over the two different meanings that I have. So the verse is talking about the contrast between the self-perception of the Laodicean church, which believed it was wealthy and self-sufficient, and Jesus's view of them as spiritually poor and in need. This verse serves as a warning against pride and self-deception in spiritual matters. So I think about, so they're talking about the Laodicean church from the Old Testament, and yeah, I'd have to, the seven churches and all that, the history of all that. I read this as, someone thinking they are great, they are wealthy, they have all these riches, but in reality, they're poor in their spiritual life. And so what I think about is maybe wealthy people like celebrities, politicians, maybe business people, that yes, they do have a ton of money. So in that sense, they are wealthy. But when you dive deeper into their personal lives and maybe what they don't have, maybe they have gone through many spouses, maybe they've had bad business dealings, maybe their kids don't talk to them, they won't have anything to do with them. Maybe they're just alone and miserable, but you wouldn't know that on the outside, just looking in, like, wow, they have all these mansions, all over the world, all these cars, jets, everything. But, they go home alone every night, and maybe all their close friends are no longer around. They won't have anything to do with them either. So yeah, that's one thing. I mean, it's a different version of being wealthy as opposed to, physical money and having all of that wealth, but being wealthy in your spiritual life, having Jesus, friends, family, all of that, people that you're close with and can talk to. So hopefully that makes sense. Let me know down below if that does make sense. So the next one is 1 Timothy chapter 5, verse 8. So this says, but if any provide not for his own, and specially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. So this verse emphasizes the importance of providing for one's family, stating that anyone who fails to do so has denied their faith and is worse than an unbeliever. This verse highlights the expectation that Christians should care for their relatives, particularly those in their own household. So this verse also doesn't quite talk about being frugal, but what popped into my head when I was doing the research was going back to the verse that says, if you give and donate and all of that will come back to you where it's overflowing and it won't fit into your jar or whatever. It's, you press it down, it's overflowing, you shake it to try to make more fit, and it's just, there's so much. So maybe this could go along with if you are taking care of a family member, and as it says, especially in your own house, then the blessings will come to you also. So what I thought of was my mom. If you go back, I have videos about, just kind of how I grew up and the history of all that and parental things. But anyways, she was a Christian. I think she really knew her Bible, and she probably knew this verse. And the reason I say that was because she helped out a family member for many years and decades financially. So I have a feeling that she was doing exactly what the Bible said and financially helping out a family member. And even though they didn't live in the house, but yeah. So, and then, there's the other side of it, like, well, what if that person is taking advantage and all that? It's like, well, yeah, that's a possibility. And, if you go down that rabbit hole, it can, make you mad and upset and irritated and all those things. And so, yeah, the Bible just says, just help them. And yeah. So, all right. Well, let me know what you guys think, and I hope everyone's doing well, and I'll see you in the next video. All right. God bless.